Alright folks, I want to do a video. Hopefully I could fit everything in one video on how to do homemade, I guess, or home spray can finish on a guitar. I'm going to have actually more of a Relic type look on it. Although it's not fully spray can. The first coats of the color are spray can, but then I'm gonna finish it up with nitrocellulose spray. Actually using a spray gun and compressor. Let me show you the brand of the actual base coat. It's Gracie's Vintage Finishes, and this is a teal green metallic. I started finishing the guitar earlier this morning, and the thought came afterwards. So I already did like a first coat, which it's over the sunburst. The reason why it's over the sunburst is because I had finished the guitar in sunburst, and it came out fine, but the red faded because it was an aniline type of color or base, I guess, or tint, and it came out after, I don't know, a year. It turned into a two-tone, but the guitar is a late 60s type Strat, so it's like a 69 inspired Strat. And you know, I'm gonna go with that teal green metallic, although the teal green is more of a 65, maybe 64 through 66 color. There's some examples out there for later models as well. Let's see how it comes out. Again, it's already, there's one coat. It's just like a tacky coat, but I'll show pictures of the guitar when it was finished in sunburst with the checking and all that stuff. So this is just like a first coat. The only thing I did a 320 sanding just to make it, you know, stick better, and that's pretty much it. Okay, I'm not gonna show you how to spray it because you guys know how to, you know, spray with a can, but I don't know. I'll just continue and then show you the process of relicing and all that in a tasteful manner, not the relic that you see sometimes, or the relics that you see sometimes that are homemade. They look really awful and fake. The guitar has some nicks and dings from the original, or from the first relicing that I did on it. It doesn't really matter because again, the guitar's going to be reliced again, and I'm going to do clear. I'm going to do a few coats of clear. Therefore, some of those dings are probably going to disappear to a certain extent. I'll probably use the same dings or the same areas where I dinged it originally and re-ding it there, I guess. But anyways, this is a metallic color, so all the different dings, scratches, irregularities are going to show up on the finish. But again, it doesn't matter. Most of it is going to be taken care of when I do the clear, and then when I relic it. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this and I'll bring it back in. This is the first coat. Still need to do a few more coats, and I mean, we're out in the sun, so it's hard to really see some of the, I don't know, I guess the metallic of the paint without the clear. It still needs at least one more or two coats, and as you can see, there's dings and whatnot around the body of the guitar. It is, well, we're in Florida, we're in South Florida, Hollywood, so it's warm here, and it's not very hot. It's almost November, but anyways, you need the weather for this kind of work. You can't do this when it's too much humidity, I guess, although it's humid here, but I'm saying, you know, cold and humid and whatnot. But anyways, I'm gonna finish it up. I'll show pictures, by the way, on how it looked prior. I just want you guys to see what it looked like as a sunburst, why I didn't want the color anymore as it faded. And I'm going to show you some more pictures once it's fully done, the base coat is done, and then I'll do a video on the clear coating. Oh, by the way, this is a Music Craft body, so it's a high quality body. This is an acrylic lacquer. It is not nitro. It's a metallic. I'm not sure if this is a GMC color from back in the day. But it is an acrylic lacquer, which is fine. It does say nitrocellulose. I don't think so. It doesn't smell like nitro. It smells like acrylic to me. And as a matter of fact, the lacquer used for those vehicles back in the 60s, I believe, was acrylic, not nitro anyways. So it doesn't matter in terms of mixing with nitro for the clear coat. I like this color as it is. I think I would, I don't know, do a disservice if I were to tint the clear with any amber, which I do I guess I do it most of the time when I'm doing a Relic type job, because you want to make it look like a vintage guitar, which lacquer or clear lacquer always will yellow. But I've seen some examples of 65s that are pretty close to this. I don't know. I gotta see. I don't want it to look like ocean turquoise, which if I do the yellow or the amber, it will look more of I guess like an either, I don't know, maybe more like an ocean turquoise or kind of like Sherwood Green, and I don't want to go that route. And like I said, I've seen other guitars, which is a very rare color for the teal, but I saw 65, you can search, and the color is very close to this. I don't know, maybe the guitar was kept in an area where there was no sunlight or there was no cigarette smoke, etc. Anyways, let me continue. I have to do more coats than usual on this because the guitar was sunburst, and some of those blacks or, well, dark browns and other colors that were deeper and darker are kind of hard to cover with this paint. So I'm doing probably more like almost 4 coats at this point of the color. Just not 4 coats. I would say more like 3 coats. I don't think it's 4. I think it's more like 3. But you know, you're just kind of touching up where you see areas where you could see some of that brown coming through, the dark brown black. I think I did black on this, on the edges. I don't think I did brown. I did brown on the 50s two-tone not too long ago, but this is my second time using this company, Gracie's. I've used their Fiesta Red before. It's really good. I used to use a different company that had these conveniently packed and ready to spray classic colors, but they are, you know, they're no longer in business, I think. It was the Guitar Re-Ranch. They were really good. Last time I went, I couldn't find it. It looked like they were out of business. I'm not sure. I got to look again, but I found these, and they're here in the US, which really helps. There's some companies out in, I think, the UK, but I don't want to deal with the shipping. You know, this is a chemical and whatnot, so it might not be something you can even bring over to the US or ship via airmail. I'm not sure. Anyways, this is here in the US, Gracie's. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch to spray gun. Not that you can't finish up with spray cans. You actually can, and there's some good brands out there. You could buy Mohawk, and then there's some I guess specifically guitar lacquers that you could buy from Stumac and other places. I just don't like the clear because sometimes well, to be honest, it's just because it doesn't have enough solid content in order to spray through the nozzle, and it's too watered down. Let's put it that way. It's just too thin, and it takes way too much clear to cover any irregular surfaces or dips or anything like that. Which I like to spray a lot more clear to get a deeper shine. And then sand through it, because of course I'm going to do wet sanding, and the wet sanding is going to eliminate a lot of the layers. By sanding through the layers, it's going to make it a thinner coat. But again, I just don't like using spray cans for the clear, so I prefer to use something like this product. You could buy this at Home Depot, or you could buy this at Lowe's. You could, I don't know, get it online through Amazon or one of those websites. And as long as it's shipped to ground, you're probably fine. The color now, I don't think this is quite right. I don't think this is the color as Fender used it, to be honest with you. I'm not really convinced that they got the formula right or the tone right. The blue tone or the greenish tone, it's kind of looking darker than the samples, than the examples that I've seen. In fact, I had a custom shop 66 reissue. Mine was an NOS, I believe they call it, or Classic or something like that. NOS, I think it was, and it was a lot lighter. I guess less blue, less. I don't know. It's just a lighter color. I'm gonna probably put some pictures of the ones that are online, but I don't think this is the right color. Still, I'm reluctant to do the amber on it, because I don't know. I think it's gonna mess it up. Because then it's gonna look like nothing the Fender ever did. I mean, although right now I'm not really happy. Unfortunately, that teal color is kind of rare. I don't know that anybody else is making it. I know that Re-Ranch used to make it, but again, I have not seen them selling products anymore. I think they're, like I said, they're out of business, it looks like. So anyways, I mean, it's not a bad looking color, it's just kind of not right for what I was trying to do. Let's see. I gotta think about this. Alright, so maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. So doing a Google search on the teal green metallic Strats, certainly the old ones look to be a little bit lighter, and I was going by that picture of a 65 that I saw. But then the Journeyman, sorry, and even some of the custom shop ones have more of a darker, like a darker tint to it, or a darker shade to it. So maybe, you know, maybe I don't know, maybe I just did a little bit of a disservice to Gracie's. Maybe they got the right formula for the newer models. Maybe I don't know, back in the day it was a little bit different chemistry of the paint or what have you. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It looks a little bit ocean turquoise kind of. It's not it's, you know, it's a cool color. It's a cool 60s color. All right, so I really just want to show you guys what could be done with some spray paint. And I mean, some of you guys have compressors. You could buy a cheap spray gun. It's not to teach you guys technique on painting. I'm not, I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, but I don't do this every day. I do this sometimes for your friends and some customers here and there, but not, you know, it's not my, what I do for a living. You know, it's more of a hobby type of thing. Anyways, I'll still show you some of the Relic process and then the final results. Like I said, I'm not sure that this color is 100% correct. I might be wrong. It doesn't look bad. It looks nice. I do about 3 coats of clear lacquer, sometimes even 4, depending on the how the wood is soaking the finish, the clear. In this case, because it was already finished, I just did 3 coats, and then I'll do the wet sanding, and that's gonna take care of the thickness. It's gonna kind of reduce it. I don't want it to be too thick. Prefer more of a thinner type finish, so that the wood is I don't know, maybe resonates a little bit more, breathes a little bit more. Anyways, I'll bring you back with when I'm putting the guitar back together and I'm doing some of the Relic to the body. Change of plans. That color that I bought from Gracie's is just not accurate. In fact, I saw some other examples from even Re-Ranch that were just off. Somebody had purchased a can of, I think it was Pelham Blue, and it was just way too dark. So it seems like a lot of these companies don't really have the colors really dialed in. Let me see. I mean, my Fiesta Red was a little bit too dark, but I kind of managed to get it kind of right with the amber in the clear, so I made it kind of orangey looking. I had bought Gold Top Gold before from Re-Ranch. That wasn't too bad. It was a little bit more yellowy instead of the darker, but again, you can manage to get it right with the with the tint. EBGM 04237, which was very close to Lake Placid Blue, which is a darker, I mean, it was just like a little bit left. It's a darker color here that was protected by the tape. This faded because it's been out in the elements, I guess, or in the sun, and it faded to a lighter blue, but it was a darker blue. So I did paint the guitar with this color, and then I just did the amber on top, so it looks kind of ocean turquoise. But it's more like I guess an aged, like Placid Blue, which was, I guess, accurate for late 60s Strat. All right, so after, I don't know, a few days, you can wait. It doesn't have to be weeks or anything like that, just until the paint is fairly dry. You can do some wet sanding. I mean, this guitar doesn't need almost any wet sanding. There's no orange peel. The reason why is because, number one, I did a little bit higher pressure for the gun, for the paint gun, probably closer to 60, so it would atomize a little bit better. Also because I added a little bit more thinner. That's typically not very good because well, I mean, whatever, it's a guitar, it's not a car, but the more you thin the paint, the less durable it is, the less solids it has. But it doesn't really matter, it's a guitar, it's not a car, so it's not going to be exposed to the elements like sun, rain, etc. But I mean, generally speaking, I mean, this color came out pretty pretty close to an ocean turquoise, I guess. It's a blue, really. It doesn't matter, the pockets are not going to be noticeable. So I didn't really put a lot of clear with amber there. So I'm just doing a little bit of wet sanding with 1200. I don't need to do any more of a coarse grit. You know, I don't have to go any lower than that. Again, it doesn't have a ton of orange peel. It has all those little dings and stuff from the original Relic game, which I will use those as, you know, as guides for the new Relic game, whatever you call it. I'll show you guys. I don't want to, you know, bore you with wet sanding, obviously, but I'm just going to wet sand it. Then I'm going to take it to the polisher. I have, you know, I just have a polishing wheel, I guess, or it's more of a automotive polisher that really does a great job. And then I will check the paint, and I'll show you guys how I check the paint. I'll do it out here in the next, I guess today. I'll do it in the next hour or so. So this corner here, it went through the amber, from the clear to the amber, to that blue that looks like the Lake Placid blue, to the uglier teal type color, to black, to the yellow from the sunburst, and to the wood. From 1200 to 2000 grit for the wet sanding. Here I did 500 to get some of that out, some of the, you know, quicker. Not everybody might like that kind of stuff. You don't have to do, obviously you don't have to relic it there, you know, but this is just a common place where people like to relic instruments. That edge there as it wears from your, you know, I guess your forearm. The back as well. Here, just worn. It would be cool to show some of the burst. Fender at the factory would many times take in orders for custom color guitars, and they would just grab a body that was finished in a sunburst. Sometimes I think would be one finish, sometimes it could be two finishes. I don't know, maybe had a burst and then they did a white, somebody changed their mind, they went to a different color. That happened at times. So I mean, I guess this is one of those, this mimics one of those instances, I guess, when you have multiple colors, which is kind of odd, but I mean, it's not unheard of. Or the other thing that did happen through the years is that people would send their instruments back to Fender for a refin, or they did it themselves. So there's guitars out there that have multiple refins, and it's common, especially for, you know, guitars that are 50 or 60 years old, what have you. So anyways, one thing that I did get lucky with is that this guitar did not have, I mean, the finish was almost like a wet coat, I guess, where it didn't give me any orange peel. So it's just kind of smoothing out the surface so it looks, you know, natural, not like an amateur did it. Anyways, I'm just cutting it a little bit with the 2000 grit. Then I'll polish it. I'll bring you guys in to see how I polish it with the machine, and then I'll check it for you guys to see as well. So on a Relic type job where you don't need to be perfect in terms of getting all the little dips that are shiny and the finish perfectly flat. So if I'm doing a refin or a new guitar and I want it to be flawless, you have to build up the clear, wet sand it to the point where it's just flat, there's no little dips or anything, any shiny spots or anything like that, and then you polish it. But this is going to be a Relic. I already wet sanded the guitar, and it's pretty flat, but there are some spots. First of all, obviously this is going to be covered by the picker, so I don't care, but there's little spots here and there from the previous dinging of the guitar. Anyways, that I found that using 4-0 steel wool will take care of quickly. Now, the thing with the steel wool is that, first of all, you want to make sure that everything's perfectly clean. You don't want any steel wool going to your pickups and damaging the pickups. But anyways, It's a little bit coarse, as you know, when you compare it to the 2000 grit sandpaper or 2500 that I might use to finish it up. So I would have to probably go over it again quickly, no big deal. Anyways, but this is a way to get rid of the shine. Let me show you here as an example. You see the shiny spots there? If you go quickly, they're gone. So that's a quick way to do it if you're doing a relic job. Of course, you're not going to use steel wool on a guitar that's going to be nice and clean and perfectly shiny, because it's going to leave marks or scratch marks when you polish it with a polisher. So I realize a lot of people do like the I don't know, the Relic look, what have you. I do understand that some people just like their guitars brand new and shiny. I get that 100%. So this might not be the video for you. I will tell you that I sympathize with cars. I don't necessarily like the patina or rat rod type of trend that happens, that's happening right now with a lot of the vintage cars. I myself have a 67 Beetle, and you know, I have it completely restored. But when it comes to guitars, I kind of like the guitars that are worn, vintage instruments that show the years, and I guess the a little bit of the abuse from the road and people playing in the bars and whatnot from back in the day. I don't like them when they're just, you know, destroyed, but you know, a little bit of wear and tear here and there, that's fine. Although the cars, I like them as nice as possible, as pristine as possible. So, you know, it's kind of a matter of taste. You know, some people like their cars beat up too. Oops. You can see it's kind of going in there. But they say different stroke for different folks, so it depends what you're into. Why the scratches and dings at this stage? Well, if you scratch it now and you take, you know, some paints or chips or whatever, you chip it now. When you check the paint, when you get the cracking of the finish, with the, you know, with the heat and then the cold and outside, they tend to follow wherever you chipped the instrument. So for example, let's say I ding it right here. If I heat it and then apply the compressed air, upside down, you know, air can, it cracks accordingly for whatever reason. So that looks natural. That's why I do some of that now. So like I was saying, I'm going to take some of these old dings and use that to do it again there, the same spot. I'm not gonna go crazy. I don't want a fake looking guitar, but I want some of the sunbursts to show. Maybe I'll do it on the, you know, on the back of the guitar. I'm not sure yet. Let's see how it goes. You could use whatever tool you want. It doesn't really make a difference. You could drag it on concrete, on the edges if you want. Show some of that wood out, and then I'll show you what I do, what I like doing with the exposed wood once it's all scratched up. Another thing is that once you know, scrape it or scratch it like this, if you polish it afterwards, it makes it smooth, which mimics old scratches that have been polished by just your hands and your clothing as the guitar rubs against the player's body. So it kind of smooths everything out quite nicely. That's why I like polishing afterwards. I'm not a fan of this color. Just I hate the fact that it's there. So I might take most of that weird teal. I'm sorry, but this is just not accurate to. In fact, I think it's called Tahoe Teal, and it's a 1965 through 69 or 68 Ford and Lincoln color. You can see some Mustangs in that color, and it's completely off. In terms of, it doesn't even look like what I purchased, so it's really not accurate at all. I don't think they're. I mean, it looks almost like a Daphne blue, but with some metallic flaking or whatever, or flakes or whatever you want to call it. But it does not look like the teal from Ford Lincoln from the late 60s at all. You could do more jagged edges in some, some areas. Like sometimes paint doesn't adhere properly, and people are, I don't know, are fidgety, and they like to try on the paint with their fingernails, and things like that happen. And you could do stuff like that with a whatever razor blade or what have you. So all that stuff kind of looks good. Now, if the guitar looks like it's been dragged from the back of a pickup truck down the road or whatever, that might be a little bit too much. Although I'm sure there's guitars out there that really been abused, and it's possible. But I mean, most vintage instruments, if you go to a vintage guitar store or whatever, most guitars show some wear and whatnot, but it's not as aggressive as some of the Relic jobs out there. And the other thing is that all vintage guitars that I see, they're typically pretty glossy. I mean, I've seen some companies out there that make them super matte and flat looking. That doesn't look right to me. I'll on the video, I'll probably, I don't know, I'll share some pictures somehow. I gotta figure it out, but I'll share some pictures of some Gibson guitars that I've done in the past, showing the paint looks like a Relic vintage instrument, but looks tasteful, not like junk. And that's really important to make it look real. That's really important. So I mean, this is probably the worst, or not the worst, but the most or the, I guess, worst looking, or the worst wear, or the most aggressively Relic guitar that I've done. I never go as far, but I'm trying to show the sunburst. So that's why I'm going so far and doing so much. I never do this. I'm not into, I mean, personally, I prefer to do a more tasteful, less beat up instrument. But I'm trying to get some of that burst to show through. So, I mean, I just did this so I can start it, and then I'm going to do a coarser sandpaper on it. There you can see a little bit of the burst. I'll polish most of that out. Sand a little bit better. That's going to be, I guess, the birthmark of the guitar. So make sure to polish this with a finer grit paper. You don't want that all, jaggedy and whatnot. Going 2000 on this. I don't know if I should repeat this in the front, blend it all in. Let's see, thinking about it. Kind of like that look of that burst showing through. Where would the guitar ding naturally? Where is it more likely? Those are the areas you have to focus on. Areas where you probably would ding the guitar. accidents happen. 60 years of handling, playing, practice in the garage. All these edges need to be a little bit more. Lay the guitar on top of something that fell, or leaned it against the amp. All that kind of stuff. Those little chips, I always go over them with, I don't know, it could be 2000 or whatever grit. However high you went on the final sanding, you want to smooth them out. You don't want them to be all jaggedy. It doesn't really look right if they are. You gotta take your time. You want to look at some pictures of vintage instruments online that help to see what guitars look like when they age naturally. Of course, I would probably go with the real guitars, not relics from any major manufacturer or even smaller shop. Sometimes they overdo it a little bit. So that's pretty much it. I think I'm satisfied with that. I don't want to overdo it. I'm gonna polish it. I'm gonna bring you guys in for that. So not to make too many videos or what have you, I'm just gonna add some random samples of some other Relic work. This is a checking of the finish. It's kind of like a faded sunburst that I did. See the checking? Either from the old dusty from all the different sanding and whatever. Here, anyways. Same thing in the back, some checking and whatnot. This one was not heavily relic, just some dings here and there, very natural. I'll show some Fender, telly body, 3-tone burst, also completed by me, Relic. As you can see, the checking. This same thing happened with a Strat. All the red faded out or faded away because it's that aniline based paint from, I believe it was from Luthier's Mercantile. I mean, it's great paint if you want to do like a burst, 59 burst type of thing where you want the finish to fade naturally. But I didn't want that for these guitars. As in the late 60s, typically the red was a different type of dye, and more often than not, it would stay pretty bright. I've seen some faded ones from the late 60s too, so I mean it happens. But now what I was going for these guitars, I kind of like the 3-tone burst where you could see the red really coming through. I aged the parts using muriatic acid. I wanted a little bit more than what I wanted, but again, it happens. It's fine. Doesn't matter. So that's what you can do. For aging the pull pieces, I use that bluing that's used for metals, like guns and whatever. It's a chemical. Alnico pickups have aluminum, so that that turns them black. What happens when you put a little bit of that with a cotton swab? Then I use that same amber. What I do is that I mix amber, like vintage amber tint from Store McDonald or one of those places, and you mix it with I don't know, you can make, I think I used alcohol last time, and it makes it stick really well to plastics. This is a actual Fender neck that's going on that particular instrument. Also, it's been, I mean, that guitar, like, you know, it's an older neck, so it's already, I had refinished it, and it was already done with checking and all that. You guys will see what it all looks to when I put everything together. This is the H bridge, which I had on that guitar for some time, but again, I did the same thing with your. I do not use McGuire's. I'm not saying it's bad. I just get much better results from 3M, the professional grade polishing compound, and even better than that, I use Wizards. But I can't find it. There's a mess in my garage, and I can't find the Wizard polishing compound, which makes life a lot easier. I mean, it just gets a really quick polish. And I'm using this machine, which is not recommended, honestly, because it's just way too strong, and the guitar just can fly off your hands or off the surface where you're working. But I've been using it for years, and I'm fine with it. I'm gonna try my best to see how this McGuire's works. And the bottle's almost full. It's probably years old, so I'm thinking I just never used it. Because I remember I couldn't get the results that I was looking for, and it just, you know, it doesn't really take some of the deeper scratches as quickly as the 3M or the Wizard, especially, that it's really, really good quality. I'm not going to show you. I mean, let me see if I can do polishing and holding the phone. I just don't think I could do that, but I'll try. I tend to use a low speed, like between 1 and 2. This one has a variable speed knob. Yeah, my wife's doing a pretty decent job, actually. So I'm gonna keep polishing, and I'll bring you guys in once I'm done. I don't want the guitar to fly off the surface here, but I don't want you guys to miss what I'm doing, but I think you guys can get the idea. I'm not gonna lie, McGuire's did a really good job. Now, if the guitar was a different color, it'd be a black or a very deep color, maybe you could see some of those sanding scratches or whatever. I don't know. As you can see, the burst, even the burst is polished underneath. Whole thing is polished. Why so shiny if it's a Relic job? Well, because vintage guitars always look shiny for the most part. I mean, unless the finish has been exposed to some kind of I don't know, weathering or I don't know, chemical or whatever, they tend to be shiny. Now, when I do the checking, a lot of that sheen goes away anyways. I don't know if it's a chemical inside the compressor air or whatever, but it goes away. And then I tint the checking, which I'll show you guys what I do, and that's just to make the checking kind of dirty, I guess, dirty looking, so it looks like dirt's gone in through the cracks in the finish, which is a common thing that happens with guitars that are all checked. Heat gun and duster, compressed air. That's what I use. Do that stuff outside. It does. There's, you know, that chemical's not good for you. If you try something like this, don't do it indoors. So what I do, I'm gonna give you a sample here. I do it by area, by section. And what I do is I'll start in the corner like that. Making sure to keep touching the surface. You don't want to melt the paint. And that's it. That's all you do. It will check. You might not see it now. I mean, we're out here, but it will check. You could go over some areas twice if you want, but you got to be careful because sometimes the paint will check, lift, and flake off. So you don't want to go too aggressively on that. But I already see the checking. It's hard to see because of the paint, the color type. But if you see it sideways, I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to. I'm going to be able to pick it up to the camera, but it's very difficult. But it's really checked already. So that's all it is. I mean, you do it by sections so you can control it a little bit better, maybe a 4-inch, 5-inch section at a time, and then you keep going. You'll see the checking once I go over it with the with a stain. See if I can somehow position this where you can see what I'm doing is hard with the sun and all that. You'll probably need 2 cans, at least 2. I had a little bit left on that other can, but yeah, it goes quickly. And this stuff is not cheap. It's pretty expensive, but 2 cans will be more than enough for most guitars and basses. You know, that should be fine. You just gotta be very specific and do it by sections. Just not go crazy on it. So one thing I noticed with this color and the checking is that I can't really see the tint. Oh, by the way, sorry. I like using dark walnut to stain the checking, I guess. It's an oil-based paint, so therefore it won't stick to the lacquer. You could just wipe it on and wipe it right off. The other benefit of using that is that it will stain the exposed wood, protecting it and also making it look aged at the same time. Some people use like water-based acrylics and whatever, and that works too. I just like this better. I happen to have it available at one time and tried it out, and it worked really nice, so I kept using it. It works fine with, you know, for my purpose here. So that's what the way I do it is I just wipe it on, wipe it right off. As you can see there, you could do it a couple times to make it darker, but any little area, any areas where you have like nicks or what have you, it will make it dark and aged. That has lacquer from the sunburst. But anyways, you go through the entire instrument, and I think it's probably going to be fine where you'll be able to see some of the brown in the checking in a different lighting type of situation, maybe indoors, I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the sun. I'm not really sure, but or maybe you won't. It doesn't make a difference. I will go through the entire instrument and do that, just because that's just the way I do it. Yeah, it does stain it. With it again, with a lighter finish, like a burst, or you know, like a vintage white or what have you, you'll see all the checking stained. Now sometimes it goes a little bit too far, and if that happens, all you have to do is wipe it off with guitar polish. It comes out if you do it right after you did it, you know, you apply the stain. If not, it might, I don't know, it might stay a little bit deeper and permanently or whatever, I don't know. You can see some of the checking a little bit clearer. It's more obvious now, you see here, with the stain applied to the clear. All right, so as you can see, the guitar is not nearly as glossy as before. Part of it, that compressed air, I think. The stain, being oil based, I don't know, it takes away some of that sheen. One thing I wanted to show you guys, I don't know if you can see here, but on the camera, but the lighter color where it checked, you can see, because it's lighter, you can see the brown tint a little bit better. It still has a little bit of the like I don't know, a thin layer of the tint. I gotta wipe it off with guitar polish to clean it a little bit better. I'm gonna finish it up with guitar polish. Whatever guitar polish you use is fine. You just don't want to overdo, or you don't want to take, you don't want to overdo the polishing. Meaning you don't want to take any layers of the mint wax walnut, you know, that's penetrated through the cracks. You know, then kind of defeats the purpose. But I want to put the neck on. I'll keep it outside so you guys could see. I'll put the pick guard, but not, you know, I'm just gonna throw it on top of the guitar, and the bridge. So you gotta, I don't know. So you see what it looks like all put together. I'll probably finish it up later tonight or something. Then I'll finish up with, I guess I'll finish up the video with that. But anyways, I need to get strings at the guitar store, go to Guitar Center. Some strings or something, or maybe you just get them on Amazon or whatever, I don't know. Let me finish it up and I'll do another quick I just threw the parts on top of the guitar, you know, the pick guard. I just place it on there, and the bridge and the jack plate or jack, so you guys get an idea of what the finished instrument is going to look like. The next one's already done a while back. So hopefully this should help you guys looking to do I guess realistic looking Relic job at home with just spray paint. I mean, I started with a quote-unquote guitar specific paint, changed my mind, didn't work out the color that I was looking for. It really didn't you know, resemble it, so I had to go and get my duplicate color paint that I had before. Actually, I went this morning to AutoZone and some other places. I couldn't find any other ocean turquoise type colors available. They do have a color, I think it's called Cayman or one of those colors. It looks almost like ocean turquoise, and you could buy that on Amazon or eBay. if you can't find it at the auto parts store. Of course, I'm gonna have to. I wanna turn it around, but I'm gonna have to take the parts out. This pickguard is also mimicking a vintage pickguard. Only, oops, I forgot the jack. There you go.